Hey, what's up? It's Justin with NRN, and welcome to this week's Pit Stop. Got a lot of NASCAR news to talk about. The NASCAR season is just weeks away, and already the fighting has begun, and they haven't even hit the track yet. Apparently, Kyle Busch took some offense to NASCAR pushing their younger stars during the first media day this week. Busch thought that the younger guys like Blaney, Elliott, and others, so on and so on, were getting way too much attention, and the veterans were being snubbed. Busch took to Twitter, which seems like the place all humans go to complain about stuff, and Busch put out a decree on Twitter saying, and I quote, pushing these younger drivers is, I wouldn't say, all that fair. End quote. Damn millennials! Get off my lawn. I wish Busch would have put sad at the end of that tweet. That would have completed it right there. I mean, can you imagine if he would have wrote something like this? Pushing these younger drivers is, I wouldn't say, all that fair. Sad. Hashtag fake NASCAR news. But my boy Blaney, he responded. Blaney said, I feel like if some drivers were more willing to do these things, they'd get asked more to do it. And the reason why I get asked to do it a lot is because I say yes a lot. Because I think it's good for the sport and myself. I can tell you personally, Busch doesn't like doing a lot of stuff, so they don't ask him. End quote. Blaney throwing that shade. And you know, my mom used to tell me all the time when I was younger that if you constantly say no to hanging out with friends, they will quit asking to do things. So, Kyle Busch, if you want to get pushed and you want to go and you want to play in the reindeer games, looks like you gotta stop saying no to stuff, brother. But it wouldn't be NASCAR without rule changes, of course. Rule changes is NASCAR's thing. NASCAR is making adjustments to how many men will be going over the wall in 2018. In an effort for safety, they are taking the 6-man crew that hops over the wall, and they're going to knock that down to 5. That means that someone on the crew will have to pull double duty on the job, which is probably going to be the jack man, because the gas can man, the guy who pours the gas into the car, he can't, by the rules, play double duty. That's his job. He's got to do that. So it's most likely going to come down to the jack man. But as it stands right now, a lot of teams still don't know what a successful pit stop will look like, and will be using the Clash race on February 11th as a test. So this could be a big shakeup as positions and races are often lost and won on pit road. But the teams will be watching each other very closely to see how they're making up the time in the pits, and whoever can master it first could actually wind up with a really good advantage in the first part of the season. And I've heard rumors that they were actually going to start doing away with the Jackman. So maybe this is getting closer to that point, because I heard that they're going to start trying to do stuff with hydraulic jacks, kind of like what they do in Formula One, IndyCar, and IMSA for that matter. They have hydraulic jacks. They pull into the pits, they hit a button, the car goes up on the jack. They change the tires, the car comes down off the jack with the press of a button, and it's away. And improvements have been made to the Charlotte Roval. And after the tire test, they made some adjustments to the infield part of the course and have actually made up 10 to 15 seconds on the lap, making it 10 to 15 seconds quicker and less technical. Of course, the Bank of America will now be a road course using parts of the infield and the oval. That's the October race in the Chase. And this was put on the calendar so that there would be a road course in the Chase, which I'm all for, because I've said for years that a road course should be in the Chase. The Chase should be like a little mini season. So my problems are not coming from the fact that there is a third road course on the calendar and that there is a road course in the Chase. My problem is, why make Charlotte a road course? There are other road courses out there. There are road courses out there that NASCAR already runs on in the Trucks and Xfinity series. Mid-Ohio, Road America. There's also VIR in Virginia. And there's a really big road racing facility that was just built in Texas for Formula One that would make for a great start car race. But nope, Charlotte is being converted into a road course. A Roval, much like the Daytona road course that the 24 hours of Daytona will be run on this weekend. Part infield, part banking. But I'm telling you what, I'm going to be there. I'm looking forward to being there, actually. I'm going to buy a ticket to this race. I've got to see this. Because this is either going to be a brilliant display of entertainment because no one will know what they're doing and they'll run all over each other. Or it will be a complete disaster and everyone will run all over each other. So that's what's coming in October. I'm actually really excited about this. I cannot wait to see how this goes. And I hope it is successful. I mean, if it's successful, great. The Bank of America 500 needs a little something. Charlotte needs a little something. The attendance, I went to the October race this past season. The attendance wasn't there, man. I had a whole row to myself, basically. But Danica Patrick now has a team to race for. Premium Motorsports. The team that is kind of taking over Michael Waltrip Racing, in a way. Toyotas. She'll be in a Toyota. Last year they had the number 15 and the number 55 charters, but it looks like Patrick will be in the number 7, and Tony Eury Sr. will be returning to crew chief duties. He worked with Patrick over the last couple of seasons, so I guess it's only fitting that he comes and sits back on the box for what could be Patrick's last NASCAR race. By the way, the media this week actually talked to Stenhouse Jr. about this, and talked to him about Patrick returning to the track. Awkward. They basically asked him how he would race with her on the track, which translation pretty much comes down to, are you going to wreck your ex-girlfriend? And of course he would say, he said he would race the way he always does. He would go out there and try to win the race and all that, yada, yada, yada. And he's actually really good at the restrictor plate courses, so he's actually got a chance to win this race. You know, don't count him out. But he did kind of jokingly say that he and Danica ran into each other all the time anyway in the past. And he's definitely not wrong about that. It did seem like the two of them were like magnets or something, just drawn to one another. I guess you could say they were attached to one another. That was a stupid attempt at a joke. It will be kind of funny if they come together, though. Kevin Harvick, though, came to the defense of Danica Patrick, and even though I cannot stand Happy Harvick, I actually agree with him on this. Don't you just hate it when that happens? But what he said was true. He said that when Patrick started, he basically had 20 years of stock car experience on her. Most of the field did, actually. And that going from open wheel to stock car racing is never easy because the cars are so different. To drive a stock car, an open wheel driver basically has to forget everything they've ever learned over the last couple of years. All of their training out the window. Throw the book away, everything they know about it. Start over fresh. Drivers coming up wanting to race in NASCAR start driving stock cars from 12 to 13 years of age. It's what they know. It's what they work on. Same with open wheel guys starting out in the go-karts. If you want to be an open wheel driver, there are certain leagues that they get into that tailor their skill sets towards getting ready for the IndyCar series. But it is true. I mean, open wheel drivers have always had a tough time coming over to NASCAR. Christian Fittipaldi, Juan Pablo Montoya, Danica Patrick. That's nothing new. But for some reason, though, I will say this, the NASCAR guys tend to do a lot better at crossing over. But it is like there are two paths to the top. Do you want to be an IndyCar driver or do you want to be a NASCAR driver? And you kind of have to pick one and you kind of have to stick with it. And Kevin Harvick believed that's where Danica Patrick struggled. She tried to jump ship to NASCAR and learn it and be good at it and be successful at it and be a champion and be a legend and be a star when she had no stock car experience going into NASCAR. Kasey Kahne, though, he's excited to get going in 2018. He's having a new year, new me moment. He's jumping over to the number 95. And take a look at this ride. I'll throw a picture up. Is that not a hot rod, as Rusty Wallace would say? That car is sharp. He's leaving Hendrick. He ran for Hendrick, as you know, in the number 5. And if you don't know, well, it's because it probably wasn't all that memorable. He drove solidly for Ray Evernham for a number of years. In the number 9, taking over that Bill Elliott ride. But at Hendrick, you know, he only made the chase a few times. Got a couple of wins. And he did get to kiss the bricks last year at Indy, so that was pretty special. That was probably his biggest win of his career. But other than that, I mean, Kahne didn't make a whole lot of noise on the biggest team in NASCAR. But was it all his fault, though? I mean, has Kahne lost a step? I actually don't think so. I mean, think about it. How could you stand out on a team with Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, and Dale Earnhardt Jr.? I mean, you know when you join that team, you're not the guy who's going to get the best car. you're going to get the leftovers, the hand-me-downs. But now that he's driving for the 95, who is a single-car team, he has a chance to start over with a brand new team, fresh ideas, and a chance to be the star. He will finally be able to take that leadership role that he wasn't able to take at Hendrick. And who knows, maybe Kane can help them build themselves into a winning team. We will just have to see, but Kane is very excited to get to work. And I'm excited for him, actually. I'll be looking forward to see the runs that he has this year. Hendrick, though, is preparing his team for the next several years. Like in all sports, eventually the team bosses have to rebuild their roster. You know, there are trades or players retire, and the managers eventually have to bring in new players and try to use those new players to continue the club's success into the future. Well, that same moment seems to be happening with Hendrick. Because check out the Hendrick roster for 2018. A lot of young blood on that team. You've got Jimmie Johnson, of course, who is staying with the team as he tries to hunt down that 8th championship and become the greatest of all time. But you've got Alex Bowman, who subbed in the 88 when Dale Jr. was out with that concussion. And Bowman actually ran really well in that car, so he does have some experience, ran a couple of races. But now he's in the 88 for the full-time ride, and I'm actually glad they offered it to him because he's good. Newcomer, though, William Byron is going to be taking over the 24 that Chase Elliott was driving. And Chase is going to the number 9, which has his dad's number from the 80s. That's going to be awesome, by the way. It'll be great seeing an Elliott back in the number 9, won't it? A little nostalgia. But William Byron is going to be taking over the 24. And he won the Xfinity Series Championship last year, so he's good. I expect good things out of him. I mean, Hendrick right now, I don't know how they'll be this year because he is in a team-building year. All of his drivers are fairly young. I mean, I would say Chase Elliott is too young to call a veteran driver, even though he's going into his 3rd season. He still has spots. Alex Bowman's run a couple of races, and William Byron is brand new to NASCAR Cup racing, although he was dang good in the Xfinity Series. But I think eventually that is going to pay off, and that is going to be a strong team of drivers right there. But speaking of Chase Elliott, I don't know if I've ever told this story. I have a Chase Elliott story, actually, and I wanted to share it because it's kind of funny. Maybe, I don't know. But I wanted to share my Chase Elliott story. So years ago, when I was a young racing fan coming up, I was a huge Bill Elliott fan. Like, Bill Elliott was my guy. Austin Bill from Dawsonville, the $1 Million Bill. Bill Elliott was the man. And so I wanted to write Bill Elliott a fan letter. Mail it to him and all that. And I wrote in the letter, oh, you're my favorite race car driver, yada, yada, yada. I want to be just like you. Think you're awesome. So I write up this letter, and I get ready to send it to him. Now, mind you, when I was a kid coming up, Pokemon was the thing, right? Like, Pokemon was really popular when I was coming up. I remember when the Pokemon cards first came out. And I had them. I got the starter kit, and I was all into Pokemon. I'm not so much anymore. Actually, I'm not at all into Pokemon anymore, but my sister is. My sister still likes it a lot. But anyway, I had all these Pokemon cards, and I knew that Bill Elliott had a son, Chase, who was much younger than me. It's kind of crazy to think, actually, how I grew up watching all these race car drivers and idolizing them, and now there are a group of race car drivers in NASCAR now that are like 8 years younger than me. It's weird. Anyway, I had this Pokemon card, Diglett. And I actually took the Pokemon card and I enclosed it in the letter with a PS that read at the bottom, please give this Pokemon card to your son Chase to get his Pokemon card collection started. I actually wrote that. I put the card in the envelope, I sealed it up, I sent it to Bill Elliott's race shop. A couple of weeks later, I got a letter in the mail from Bill Elliott. And it was this big, nice little postcard thing that had his picture on it, picture of the McDonald's cars back when he was in the 94. And it actually had his autograph on it. It wasn't that printed stuff, because I did the same thing with Rusty Wallace once, and he sent me back one that was just a card that had his name like kind of electronically written on there. No. This wasn't that. Bill Elliott actually signed this thing. It was like an ink, and I've still got it today framed up. Like, I kept this thing. It was awesome. But the thing is, my question is, did Chase Elliott ever get the Pokemon card? I've wondered this for years. Is Chase Elliott a Pokemon fan to this day because I gave him his first Pokemon card? I mean, did he like it before? Did he even get the card? I don't know. I have always wanted to know if he got the card. And if I ever meet Chase Elliott or whatnot, I'm going to ask him, did you ever get a Diglett card in the mail? Because it was from me. Wouldn't that be something, though, if like Chase Elliott was the biggest Pokemon fan because he got this one card? It was a Diglett. Diglett. If you guys don't know what a Diglett is, go look this thing up. It is so stupid looking that I would, and that's probably why I gave it to him. Because if I had to part with a Pokemon card, you know, you're gonna part with a Diglett. Who cares? Oh man, that's my Chase Elliott story. So I actually do have a Chase Elliott story. I sent him a Pokemon card, and I wonder if you ever got that Pokemon card. But you know, even though how much I loved that card that I got sent back, the autograph card that I got sent back from Bill Elliott. You know, I've actually never met Bill Elliott. This is kind of funny too. I've been to 2 autograph sessions of Bill Elliott and have come away with no autographs. I was in Rockingham years ago, and it was stated on his website that he was going to be signing autographs at the McDonald's in Rockingham after qualifying. So after qualifying, my mom and I, we hop in the car and we drive over to the McDonald's so that I can meet my hero, and he never showed up. It was a no-show. It turns out that he was at the Family Dollar instead. So no autograph for me there. Then I went to this thing. It was called I think it was the Winston Preview or something like that. It was in Winston-Salem. Do you guys remember this? You basically went there and all the drivers would show up and you could just get in all these different lines and grab like a bunch of autographs. Well, I get in the Bill Elliott line. And then right before Bill Elliott's supposed to come out and sign autographs, this lady comes out, right? And she says, Bill Elliott will not be making it to the autograph session because he's snowed in Georgia. But here's Bobby Labonte. So we left. So I've never actually met or gotten Bill Elliott's autograph other than that one letter that I wrote him. But that's going to do it here on the Pit Stop. That's your Pit Stop for the week. Thanks so much for tuning in. And I will be down in Daytona tomorrow for the 24 hours of Daytona. So stay tuned to NRN on the Facebook page, Instagram, and Twitter for 24 hours of Daytona updates live from the track. I'm so excited, just not looking forward to the 8-hour drive down, waking up at 2 o'clock in the morning, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, thanks for listening this week. Take it easy. I'm Justin with NRN, and I'll see you around next time. Peace.